Hello students, welcome to the daily news analysis. I hope you all are doing great. I'm your educator Prithviraj Singh and we'll be learning the important current affairs of 22nd February 2022. Let us begin with the important news articles. Guys, on the screen you can see in the state of Telangana there is a festival which is being held for many years called as Medaram Jatharna festival, right? It is a fair, right? It is a fair, it's like a mela, right? And in this sense, if I compare it with Kumbh Mela, it is the second largest fair in India, right? So it is the second largest fair in India. And if I talk about the if I compare with all the tribal fairs or all the tribal festivals, आदिवासी मेलों की अगर मैं बात करूं, right, तो उसके अंदर it is the Asia's largest tribal festival. आदिवासी मेला सबसे largest, it is Asia's largest tribal festival, number one. Number two, if I compare it with other melas or other fairs, it is the second largest fair of India after Kumbh Mela, because you know that Kumbh Mela is not a tribal festival or it is not a tribal fair, right? It is a spiritual fair, correct? So Medaram Jatara or Jathara is the second largest fair of India after the Kumbh Mela. As you can see on the screen, the tribal people, the Adivasis of Telangana, they celebrate this festival, Medaram Jathara. So guys, in the examination they may ask you that Medaram Jathara is a native fair of which among the following states? So the answer would be Telangana, right? Now, the other point that you have to remember is that it is celebrated by the Koya tribes, right? So there is a category of tribes in Telangana called as Koya tribes, and it's being celebrated for 4 days, right? So we have understood that it is being celebrated by Koya tribes, and it is the largest tribal fair in India, in Asia, right? And it is there to celebrate, and mind you, it is being celebrated once in 2 years, right? Right. So it is there, and in honor of the goddess Samakka and Saralamma, right? So in the remembrance or in the honor of goddess Saramma and Saralamma, Samakka and Saralamma, this tribal fair is being celebrated, Medaram Jatara, right? So you can see the tribals, the Koya tribes celebrating the fair. Every 2 years you will find this fair being organized in the Telangana state, right? Very important, guys, Telangana state. Coming to the next news article. Guys, yesterday we had a news that there were around 60 people killed in a blast at gold mining site in Burkina Faso. Well, Burkina Faso is a African country, and you can see in the map, it is, I would say, a Western African nation. And guys, as you can see that it is a landlocked country, right? Because there is no direct access to sea, right? On the northeast you have Niger, north you have Mali, and then towards east there is Gambia, Guinea-Bissau. Towards the west, towards the east you have Nigeria, and Nigeria river also flows through, right? Burkina Faso. Towards the south you have Ghana, right? So one thing is very clear that Burkina Faso is a landlocked country. It's an African country towards the west side of Africa, and it is known for its mineral resources, especially the gold mining. Guys, so there was a news article where 60 people were killed in a blast at gold mine site in Burkina Faso, right? So this is a map of Burkina Faso. Here, guys, you can see that Niger river originating from Nigeria and passing through towards the north of Burkina Faso, and they have a desert. Burkina Faso on the north has a desert called as Goram, right? And there is a river called as Sirba river, White Volta and Red Volta river, and Black Volta river, correct? So these are some important landmarks of Burkina Faso. As you can see, it is a landlocked country. It is being characterized by savanna grasslands, and the topology is being mentioned here, right? I hope it is clear. So they may ask you that which among the following countries experienced or witnessed 60 people killing in the gold mine blast. So it is Burkina Faso. Guys, on the very front page of the Hindu today, you had the news with regard to fundamental duties. A petition is being filed in the court which says that the fundamental duties must be enforced. Well, fundamental duties, guys, were not present in the original constitution. You all know that during the Indira Gandhi's time of emergency, the dark chapter in the history of India, the era of emergency, which was imposed in the year 1975 till 1977, right? So in 1977 it was being lifted off, right? Now in those years you had the fundamental duties being incorporated in the constitution. It was being realized that along with the rights that the citizens and the residents enjoy, there are some duties which need to be fulfilled. The duties which are due for every citizen of the country, you know, for to actually, you know, to give his services for the country, right? So those duties which every citizen has to has to offer for the country are called as fundamental duties. Now the thing that separates fundamental duties with fundamental rights is that fundamental rights are enforceable in the court of law, whereas fundamental duties are non-enforceable until and unless a law is not there backing a particular fundamental duty, right? For example, protection of environment is also a fundamental duty. Now because we have many laws for the preservation of environment, so therefore that fundamental duty is being backed by a law, right? A legal law, correct, passed by the parliament. So there are many acts like Wildlife Protection Act, so on, and Environment Protection Act, so on and so forth. So fundamental duties are actually non-justiciable. That means if you don't profess them, if you don't follow them, you may not be sued in the court of law because they are non-enforceable until and unless a law is not there, right? Now the constitution was, because in order to incorporate or insert anything in the constitution or to repeal anything from the constitution, you need to amend the constitution, right? So the constitution was amended in the year 1976 by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, which inserted part 4A into the constitution. Guys, any new addition in the constitution is in alphabetical manner, right? Be it part 4A or be it part 14A, right? Part 9A, 9B, correct? So every new addition in the constitution, be it the article or the part, is in alphabetical order, right? So part 4A was added following the directive principles of state policy, which is part 4 of the constitution. So part 4A talks about the fundamental duties, and the article which is there is article 51A, right? So guys, you can see on the screen, in the year 1976 the constitution was amended by 42nd Amendment Act, and based on the Swaran Singh committee recommendations, the fundamental duties were inserted into the constitution, right, in part 4A, article 51A. I hope it is clear. Very important, students. All the students preparing for the Clat examination and the any government examination is this article is very important. Now originally, guys, there were 10 fundamental duties, but in 2002 by 86th Constitutional Amendment Act, one more fundamental duty was added. Now this fundamental duty is also your right to education. You would be knowing, guys, under article 21 it was being inserted under article 21A, right, by the same amendment, 86th Constitutional Amendment Act of the year 2002, which said that it is every child of between the age of 6 to 14 years has the right to education, right? Guys, you can learn 86th amendment by this 6. So 6th is the range, 86th Amendment Act 2002, and it gives the fundamental right to education to those children between the age of 6 to 14, right? So 6 and 6. So this is how you can remember the amendment through the range of the education, the range between given for the education, right? So 86th Amendment 2002, 6 to 14 years of age, and it was also been made a fundamental duty, right? A new duty was being added, 11th duty, which made it compulsory for each and every parent and guardian to provide the education opportunities to their children who is more than 6 but less than 14 years in age, right? So we are clear with Sorensen committee, we are clear with part 4a, article 51a. Originally there were 10, and now by 86th Amendment Act, added one more. So now there are total 11 fundamental duties, right? I hope it is clear. Let us understand the issue. So Supreme Court is asking the center and the states to respond to a petition to enforce the fundamental duties of citizens, including patriotism and unity of the nation, through comprehensive and well-defined laws. So that means you can enforce the fundamental duties only when you have some laws backing it, right? As I said that we had the fundamental duty, as you can see, to protect the environment, right? To protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures, right? Now we do have Environmental Protection Act, Wildlife Protection Act, so on and so forth, which actually gives a legal backing to this fundamental duty. Anyone found actually violating the environment would be sued by the court. So in this sense, there's a petition which says that the laws, well-defined laws, must be enforced to actually to back the fundamental duties. I hope you're getting my point. Now they are statutory duties. Why the statutory duties? Because they are being formed by the parliament, right? All the 11 fundamental duties that you have are being formulated by the parliament, right? Why? Because 86th Amendment Act 2002 is itself an act of parliament, correct? However, they are not enforceable by the law, but a court may take them into account while adjudicating on a matter, right? Guys, the concept of fundamental duties was borrowed from the Soviet constitution, very important. And in all, there are 11 fundamental duties. You have to by heart them. The first is to abide by the constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, including the national flag and national anthem. You do have flag code and the even the code for national anthem. Second duty, and they all are in alphabetical manner. Article 51A, clause A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Till 11th duty, it is mentioned here, right? Till K, right? To defend the country, to uphold, so the second duty is to cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspired us national struggle for freedom. The third duty is to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. And the petition actually points out at this issue, that why not make a law to protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of the nation, right? Guys, you would be remembering that these words also find their mention in the preamble to the constitution, correct? Unity, integrity also are mentioned in the preamble to the constitution, correct? And many features of the preamble form the basic structure of the constitution. However, preamble is not enforceable until and unless a law is not being made, right? So it is one of the three permanent national obligations of all the citizens. Fourth is to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. Fifth is to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood, correct? Then you can see sixth is to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Seventh is to protect and improve the natural environment. So they may ask you that which among the following is the fifth fundamental duty, fifth or eighth fundamental duty. So you have to remember and by heart them, right? Then eighth is to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry and reform. Ninth is to safeguard public property and to abjure violence. 10th is to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, right? And 11th is right to education, correct? So I hope we are clear with the same. Guys, there have been many criticisms on the fundamental duties, like many duties like paying the taxes, casting votes, that were suggested by Swaran Singh committee. They are not included in the fundamental duties, which came into being on by 42nd Amendment Act 1976, right? And these duties cannot be enforced by a court of law. So critics feels that it is of no use to include these duties in the constitution because they are not being backed by a backed by a law, right? Or they cannot be enforced by the court of law, correct? So therefore they feel that there is no point in having the fundamental duties, if at all, right? Now guys, coming to the very important news article which is making the news for past few days, past 2-3 days. Yes, I'm talking about the NSE scandal, National Stock Exchange scandal. You would all be remembering this face on the screen, Chitra, right? So guys, Chitra Ramakrishna, who was the first, I would say, director of National Stock Exchange, but sadly she was more on taking advice from an unknown person, and she termed him Himalayan Yogi, right? Now, on the advice of this unidentified person, Himalayan Yogi, she actually recruited many people into the National Stock Exchange, right? And one such fellow was here mentioned on the screen. There were many, but there is Swaminathan, I guess, who has been in the news, and he was earning 15 lakh in annum before he joined NSE, but post the advice from the Himalayan Yogi, the NSE, who was being directed by or headed by Chitra Ramakrishna, he was being offered 1 crore rupees, right? Now guys, the case of NSE explores as the corporate resurfacing of the governance standards, right? Now the case here is NSE co-location case. Guys, in the year 2009, in the NSE, where all the trading takes place, some traders are being given servers. Their servers were being placed in the NSE system, and this gave them preferential access to the NSE trading, right? That means there were some traders who were being given the preferential treatment, and their servers were being placed at the NSE systems, right? And this actually helped them in gaining huge amounts from the Nifty, from the NSE, right? So as you can see, guys, there are some brokers who got preferential access through the co-location facility. Co-location facility means जहाँ पे स्टॉक एक्सचेंज का पूरा सिस्टम है, वहाँ पे जो ट्रेडर्स के सिस्टम, ट्रेडर का सर्वर वहाँ पे प्लेस कर दिया जाएगा. उससे they would get the advantage of split second, right? That means they'll get a faster access to the data, right? And this faster access to the data has resulted them in making huge benefits. Let's say over 100 rupees, if they are able to earn 1 rupee, but then 1 rupee traded into million times would make huge benefit for the traders, right? So because of this co-location facility or co-location thing, the traders were allowed, some traders were allowed to place their servers in the stock exchange, and in this way they allowed the trader to have a faster access to the data of the exchange, and this resulted in, guys, huge gains for traders. And this is also called as algorithmic trading, right? Now it is also said that the NSE had allowed non-impaneled internet service provider to lay fiber cables on its premises for few stock brokers. So there was a preferential treatment being given to few stock brokers, and by placing their server into the stock exchange. Guys, the MD of National Stock Exchange was Chitra Ramakrishna, and she has had an illustrious career. However, the former chief of India's largest stock exchange, NSE, has landed in controversy following the shocking revelations by SEBI, right? Guys, Chitra Ramakrishna was known as Queen of Bosses, and she made headlines after SEBI revealed that she had links with unidentified Himalayan Yogi. it's being said that 15-20 years back, she met a person in Uttarakhand, and this fellow was a spiritual person, but then these days he is probably in the Himalayan ranges, and it's being alleged that Chitra is actually taking the advice from this Himalayan yogi. Some say that his name is Paramhans, something like that, but she is taking active advice from Himalayan yogi. Now in that process, he's also disclosing the NSE, confidential data of NSE, to this yogi, right? And who in turn is definitely giving the advice to Chitra, correct? However, he's a spiritual person, but on his recommendation, she appointed the person Anand Subramaniam, and later he was made Group Operating Officer, GOO, right? So he was working before NSE in a company at just 15 lakh an annum, and he was recruited at 1.6 crore, right? So there was a huge jump to Anand Subramaniam, and it actually was being questioned, and today Anand Subramaniam is earning around 4.6 crores per annum, right? So it's being said that one cannot leak the confidential data of NSE, and he was in because Chitra was being alleged to leak the data, confidential data, to unidentified Himalayan yogi, right? अब ये हो गया कि हिमालयन योगी को भी मतलब NSE की information जा रही है, right? So and on his recommendation, appointments are being made. So God knows what would happen in the country. Definitely taking good advice is something which is appreciable, but then there must be a proper committee which should recommend the appointment and the recruitments, and not taking any advice from the yogi. You can take it in your personal affairs, but not at least in the corporate, right? When the interest of the millions of people are at stake, right? Guys, she was the first woman to head the Indian Stock Exchange, right? So Chitra is here, and NSE introduced this co-location facility in the year 2009, wherein the stock exchange allowed the traders, guys, please be alert here. So the stock exchange, the NSE, allowed the traders to place their servers in NSE data center, right? तो जो ट्रेडर्स थे उनके जो स्टॉक ब्रोकर्स थे, उनके सर्वर्स जो थे वो NSE के डेटा सेंटर के अंदर ही प्लेस हो गए, करेक्ट? And in this way they benefited the traders by having faster access to the price feed, which is distributed by the stock exchange. क्योंकि servers were being placed inside the data center of NSE, so therefore they were able to get the faster access. Notably, several stock exchanges globally allow the installation of a co-location facility in high frequency trading. ऐसा नहीं केवल इंडिया में ऐसा हो रहा है, बहुत सारे, there are many stock exchanges which do allow the co-location facility, but the thing is that they are being regulated by the government or by some regulator like SEBI. But in India, until unless there is any person doesn't raise his or her voice, many things go unnoticed, right? Now, non-co-location brokers would receive the prices with a lag. That means those who have not placed their servers in the NSE data center, they would receive the prices with a lag, and this lag would be anywhere between a few milliseconds to a second, or maybe even more, depending on the physical distance from the exchange servers. And this actually resulted into huge profits, huge gains for those who had placed their servers in the NSE data center, right? And guys, this is called as tick by talk data, TBT. So there's a term, tick by talk, TBT, tick by talk, tick by tick data. Tick by tick data means you are able to access the data very fastly 3 months after the introduction of the co-location facility, right? According to NSE's website, the TBT or tick by tick data disseminates information about orders and trades on a real time basis, right? So जो भी trading हो रही है उसके अंदर loss profit जो भी हो रहा है उसमें real time basis पे you'll get the information. The data feed is in transmission control protocol TCP IP format, correct? I hope it is clear. So it happened, guys, as I said, that this co-location facility was introduced in the year 2009, and in the year 2015 a whistleblower complained it. He filed 3 written complaints with SEBI alleging that some traders are getting preferential access to national stock exchange co-location facilities, and they explained the flaws in the co-location systems and had alleged that some NSE employees were colluding with these traders. Means there are some insiders of the employees of the NSEs who are colluding with these traders. And then the SEBI definitely conducted its investigation and revealed that some traders definitely got preferential access in the co-location facility, like early logins and split second access to the data feed in the exchange, right, resulting in huge gains by the traders, right. It also revealed that some traders had multiple IP addresses in dissemination servers and secondary servers, resulting in market manipulation and market abuse, right. So you all know that SEBI, or Security Exchange Board of India, is the secondary market regulator. It ensures that there is no unfair practices in the stock exchange, and when SEBI found that there is a case of market manipulation and market abuse, it charged the NSE. It actually and also now the ED is also behind, Enforcement Directorate is also behind Chitra Ramakrishnan, right. Their properties are also being seized. So this is how it operates, right. Now, following its 3-year-long investigation, SEBI on February 10, 2021 slapped a fine of rupees 25 lakh on Ramakrishnan and Narayan, and also imposed a fine of rupees 1 crore on NSE, right. So NSE is also being fined by rupees 1 crore, and a penalty of 3 crore rupees has been imposed on Chitra Ramakrishnan, right. Interestingly, NSE introduced this facility without SEBI first putting up a discussion paper on the subject, right. As I said, guys, there are many countries which do have the the co-location facility, but they are being regulated by the government. Now in this case, without the knowledge of the SEBI, NSE was actually doing such market manipulation practices or unfair trade practices, right. So therefore it is being questioned. The whole controversy is referred to as the NSE algo trading scam or high frequency trading scam. I hope it is clear, right. So this is how it's being detailed out, right. So it has raised the question of governance and system lapses at the country's premier exchange, right. So guys, very important news, and I expect questions on this article, right. So please be careful about all the things which would follow this article, right. Coming to the next news, non-fungible tokens. Guys, I have explained it many times because this term also came in the union budget. Now this is a digital kind of currency, I would say, which is being used for assets like music, right, for art, etc., right. So any trading done in drawing, photo, GIF, videos, music, selfies, and even tweets and memes, right, is being done in non-fungible tokens. Now the difference between fungible and the non-fungible tokens is that fungible tokens, for example, the currency, right, the physical currency, the rupee note, right, let's say 10 rupee note or Bitcoin. A 10 rupee note can be exchanged with a 10 rupee note, right. Similarly, a Bitcoin can be exchanged for the same value of Bitcoin, but non-fungible tokens cannot be exchanged. They are unique, they are distinct, and that is the reason why they are called as non-fungible, right. Now the sales of NFTs have surged $25 billion in the year 2021. So the market is actually booming for NFTs. It is a crypto asset, no doubt about that. If I talk about the similarities between the Bitcoin and NFT, they both work on blockchain technology, right. Guys, this is an article from Indian Express. As I said that we don't limit ourselves to the Hindu, but we also cover some important articles of Indian Express, correct. So and the NFTs have risen the interest of celebrities and tech evangelists, right. So NFTs are typically realized as digital art and digital collectibles that are minted on the blockchain, right. Guys, NFT works on blockchain as it gives users complete ownership of a digital asset. For instance, if you are a sketch artist, correct, and if you convert your digital asset to an NFT, what you get is proof of ownership, right? For example, you are an artist and you made a beautiful art, a picture art, right? Now when you convert your art into a digital asset, which would be an NFT, right? What you'll get is a proof of your ownership, and the proof of your ownership, right, would be backed by the blockchain technology, right? So in this way, because the art is unique, therefore it is non-fungible, it cannot be exchanged. Now the question is, why are people willing to spend millions on something they could easily screenshot or download? Well, in simple words, when you list your NFT on a marketplace, you pay something called a gas fee. This gas fee is also called as transaction fee for using the blockchain. Now following which your digital art is then recorded on blockchain, mentioning that you own the particular NFT, correct? This gives you full ownership, which cannot be edited or modified by anyone, including the marketplace owner, right? NFTs can have only one owner at a time. So this is very important. NFTs can have only one owner at a time. Apart from exclusive ownerships, NFT owners can also digitally sign their artwork, right? And store specific information in the NFT's metadata, right? So they can digitally sign their artwork, and this will be only viewable to the individual who bought the NFTs, right? So this is how NFTs work. They are different from cryptocurrency in the way that cryptocurrency is a currency and is fungible, meaning that it is interchangeable, whereas NFT is non-interchangeable, right? NFTs are non-fungible. That means the value of the one NFT is not equal to another, right? So as you can see on the screen, non-fungible tokens are the cryptographic asset on blockchain that has its own unique identification code that differentiates it, right? NFTs cannot be replaced or exchanged at equivalency. How do NFTs work? To create an NFT, an asset needs to be created, right? Or rather minted as NFT that will certify ownership for the price created, right? For example, fashion, VR asset, right? Virtual reality asset, digital art, trading cards, so on and so forth. I hope it is clear. And the best part is that you don't need any KYC document to purchase an art, right? But there is a fear that there may be and there have been many incidents of NFT scams, like the emergence of fake marketplaces, unverified sellers selling the work of the real artist at half of the prices. There is the risk of NFTs being hijacked or hacked, right? So that is always there. So I hope it is clear. So I expect a question on NFT, right? Now coming to the editorials, guys. In the Hindu newspaper, we had today an important editorial about India-China relation, and Mr. Prabhash Ranjan has cited some international laws which are being violated by China when it is intruding India's territory, right? Now China has disregard of various written agreements. There have been many, like 1993 agreement between India and China, which provides that neither side shall use or threaten to use the force, right? So 1993 agreement clearly says that neither of the side, neither India nor China, would be using the force against each other by any means, right? And any boundary question has to be resolved through peaceful and friendly consultations. But guys, we all know that in Galwan clashes in the year 2020, and China has made many intrusions. Even in Galwan clashes, there were casualties. Many Indian soldiers died, were martyred, right? So therefore it is a clear violation of 1993 agreement. Then Article 1 of 1996 agreement also talks about the confidence building measures, CBMs, between the two sides, prohibiting the use of military capability against the other side, right? So the 1996 agreement says that it actually prohibits the military capability against either side. The third thing is the UN Charter, Article 2 Clause 4 of the United Nations Charter says that the states are being forbidden from using force in international relations is a cardinal rule of international law. That means the states cannot use force. It is mentioned in Article 2 of UN Charter, with two exceptions. Number one, self-defense. For example, if any foreign country attacks your country in self-defense, you can definitely hit that country or fight against that country. The second thing is, when the United Nations Security Council authorizes the use of force, right? So only in these two circumstances the country can use force. Otherwise, one is the country cannot use the force, right? And it is mentioned in UN Charter. So in this sense, China is actually violating the international laws when it intrudes into the Indian territory and violates the LAC, line of actual control. As you can see, guys, recently China is renaming the various places in Arunachal Pradesh, and in this way it aims to set up boundary markets on all its land borders, right? Even in the 1996 agreement, which required the two sides to reduce armaments such as combat tanks, vehicles, missiles and mortars and big mortar guns, but China has not complied to 1996 agreement also, guys. So guys, we have understood that there are two important agreements, 1993 then 1996, correct? 1993 says that neither side should use force. 1996 agreement says that the use of military capability against each other should be prohibited. It also says that both the sides should reduce the armaments such as combat tanks, vehicles, etc. But sadly, and then you have the UN Charter, Article 2 Clause 4 of United Nations Charter, which says that neither of the sides should use the force. No country should use force, with two exceptions of self-defense. Self-defense is mentioned under Article 51, and if the United Nations Security Council authorizes the use of force, right? But China sadly has violated on all fronts, right? China denounced the 2016 ruling in favor of the Philippines by an arbitration tribunal under the aegis of United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea in a maritime dispute between the two sides in South China Sea, right? Guys, China is also being accused of providing illegal subsidies, manipulating currency to make exports competitive, stealing intellectual property rights and forcing companies to transfer technology, right? In this way, it has also violated many guidelines of the WTO, right? So, and China also has a long history of gaming the international legal system by entering into legally binding nuclear non-proliferation obligations with which its rivals, US, Japan, South Korea tend to comply secretly, while China secretly violates these obligations by providing nuclear technology to allies. It's being alleged that China is supplying the nuclear technology to its neighbors like Pakistan and North Korea, right? Well, guys, India do reserve the right to act in self-defense under Article 51 if China, actually pushes us. And definitely, the author also says that why not we have a national security law aimed at imposing restrictions or sanctions of various kinds like trade, economic and military on those countries with whom India shares the land border, and that can also be an option, right? So good article in the Hindu newspaper, right? So I've elaborated the same. You can just go through the same, because it's saying that there is a blatant violation of international law by China, and everything is being mentioned which I have just explained, right? Renaming the places in Arunachal Pradesh, new border law, etc., so on and so forth, right? So China is also weaponizing the borders. It's also being seen and that China is placing the robots on the border with India. So this is how the article actually explores those situations, right? So guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the session. I'll be back tomorrow with the more interesting news article. That's all for today. Wish you all the best. God bless you. Good day. Goodbye.